Okay, I can start, Melody?
Yes, please. We're all set.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to tonight's question and answers regarding our in-person increased instruction. Everyone in Mahopac is very excited and really excited about coming back. Before we get started, I just want the community to know that we will only answer questions regarding our in-person instruction. Those are the questions that we had asked for, and we have a number of questions that we will answer tonight. I would like everyone to know that this plan was developed with the best interest and health safety of the students and staff of Mahopac District. This plan was developed under the jurisdiction of the New York State Department of Health, as well as our own Putnam County Department of Health. What we have in place beginning on April 5th could change at any time. It's a very tentative plan. We see some numbers increasing. We hope not. If we get any new directions from the state or the county, this could happen at any time. Our administrative team has come up with a very detailed plan. We've looked at it every which way, and we've always had the thought of our students and our community safety and well-being at heart. So we're all I can say is, by joining the team a couple of weeks ago, believe me, they have worked extremely hard to make this plan something that we think will work and will sustain itself as we go through April and May. Our entire district has worked very hard to get to this point after a very tough year. I need to be very explicit, though, that we are still in a pandemic and we need to be very diligent as we proceed. Everyone must work together and be very safety conscious during this period, especially as we get to our spring recess, where families get together, grandparents, families, brothers, friends, kids from college. I need to, if we want this to work, and if we want to enjoy some of our activities in May and June, we need to get through this April part of our schedule. But I need everyone from our staff, students, parents, to be very diligent and be very safety conscious because, as I mentioned before, we still are in a pandemic. At this moment, we will proceed with the meeting. Our district clerk will read the questions, and then our amazing staff of assistant superintendents that have been very involved, including myself, will answer all of the questions that were turned in, and hopefully, we answer the questions that our parents and students want to hear. And as I mentioned before, we've done everything that we can to make this work. So I appreciate everyone's support. Now I'll turn it over to our district clerk, Melody LaRocca.
Thank you, Frank. I just wanted to clarify that when kindergarten and first grade return full-time on the 8th and 9th of April, that they will also go to school the week of the 12th when the second and third grade start.
That's my question, and I'll answer it the best I can. Once you come in, you're in. Until you are fully in, you still come in on your hybrid day. Students will attend full-time, starting with the first date in the schedule. For example, all K-1 students who wish to return to full-time in-person learning may do so on 4/8. On 4, 8, and 9, we will welcome back all of our K-1 students and all in-person Blue cohort learners in grades 2 to 5.
I've heard that hybrid no longer exists, but what is the cutoff date? Do all students learn remotely after spring break and only go back on their return to school date?
As I mentioned in the previous answer, students will attend full-time starting the first date in the schedule. For example, all K-1 students who wish to return to full-time in-person learning may do so on 4/8. On 4, 8, and 9, we will welcome back all K-1 students and all in-person Blue cohort learners in grades 2 to 5.
May we get a preview of the portable face shields students will be using during instruction in populated classrooms? Are they reusable? How many students expected to carry, How are students expected to carry them? Are they labeled with student's name? How do they get replaced if lost or damaged?
So the face shields are this. Mr. Tremblay is sporting one right now. He looks quite dapper. They are OSHA certified. They are reusable. We will be sending out information with respect to how to care for them, put them on, clean them. If they are lost or damaged, we have replacements for students and staff in the buildings. Please remember that this is only required for use in instructional spaces where students are within 6 feet of each other. And that is not all locations in our secondary. So we're not going to use them in the hallways. We're not going to use them on the buses. We're not going to use them in gym. And many classes, students will not have to wear them because we're able to maintain 6 feet. And again, we have reserves. And this is all subject. This is all subject to New York State Department of Health guidance. If it changes at any point and mirrors more CDC, then they may not be necessary in the future.
With regards to the extra help opportunities mentioned by Mr. Tremblay, is that for fully remote students only? If so, when and how would in-person students receive extra help or even after-school help?
I'll take that one, Melody. As we welcome back more students to in-person instruction, we will initially not be able to offer after-school extra help sessions in person, although existing virtual extra help options will still be there for our students. We will continue to monitor this as we welcome back more of our students and adjust if and or when it's possible. And as always, in-person learners should contact their teachers about other extra help opportunities.
If and when it is decided that teachers will need additional professional development, parents need enough time to prepare for an at-home for the children day. Please take this into consideration when making those decisions.
I'll go ahead and take that one as well, Melody. And we definitely will take that into consideration. We're very cognizant of the times that our students are not in our buildings learning in person. And we also recognize the need to balance that with continuing to support our teachers as they adapt to the challenges of this year. The evidence I see and the feedback that I receive from teachers is that any day devoted to professional learning this year has been extremely beneficial. We feel that by affording this time to our teachers, our students will have a better learning environment and be better supported. We anticipate the need for more days and will communicate those days with enough time so that our families can make appropriate arrangements such as childcare scheduling.
If a student who plays sports returns for in-person instruction and is contacted by the school because he may have been exposed to a person with COVID, will he still have to quarantine for 10 days?
I'll take that one, Melody. Any individual through contact tracing investigation is deemed to be in close or proximal contact with a known positive. They will still need to be quarantined for 10 days from the last date of exposure pursuant to the Putnam County Department of Health.
If a student chooses to do remote learning, would he be permitted to return to in-person instruction after his spring sports season has completed?
Thank you, Melody. I'll take that one. In an effort to prepare our buildings for increased in-person learning, we need to have an accurate count of students who would be in person. We have based a number of our protocols, safety protocols, classroom setup, room logistics on those numbers that we received. If there is a situation that necessitates a change in students' learning preference, we ask that that discussion be held with the building principal to make the safest and best informed decision possible.
We've received 2 questions regarding barriers. Is there a date for the arrival of barriers?
Thank you, Melody. So currently the scheduled arrival date for the barriers is Thursday, April 1st. Melody, you're on mute.
Thank you. If there is a way that upon return from break, if the barriers are in use, kindergarten through 1st grade can return on Monday rather than having the Gold group home for an additional 3 days.
So based on the April 1st delivery date, we will not be able to bring back any of the K1 prior to April 8th.
With the development of loosening restrictions, increased detection of more contagious variants, along with the increased community spread, why not wait to fully reopen at least 2 weeks following spring break? We have already waited this long. Why not err on the side of safety for both students and staff? Mr. Mealy, you're on mute.
Okay, I'll take that, Melody. I'm sorry. Well, we're under the jurisdiction of the Putnam County Department of Health as well as the New York State Department of Health. Then that they guide our decisions, not the CDC. And we work in collaboration with them. Further, we are opening as soon as possible within the safety measures put forth by the Department of Health. We think it's time. We think we can do it in the best and safe possible way. Everything has been done in the most, I can't say it enough, with our students, safety at the forefront. And everybody's anxious to get back and things are opening up. And we just felt that this was the right time and to do it. And we're ready to go.
In the event that Mahopac Central School District has to close and go full remote in the future, who will be responsible for making that decision? Is it voted on by the board, or does that decision rest solely with the superintendent?
Once again, I'll take that. Once again, we're under the jurisdiction of the Putnam County Department of Health as well as New York State Department of Health. They guide our decisions. We work in collaboration with them. Should we need to close, the recommendation will be provided and also discussed with the superintendent of schools. So we're really looking for some guidance in case we're in that situation, and hopefully we're not.
Why didn't the district have a full in-person plan in the fall? The fall reopening was more concerned with the hybrid and full remote.
I'd be happy to answer that question. There are some significant differences between the fall and now. In the fall, there were no vaccines for any adults. In the fall, all districts in our region incorporated the mitigation measures of cohorting, 6 feet of physical distancing, and significant reductions of building and bus density pursuant to the guidance from the New York State Education Department and the Departments of Health. As Mahopac, as well as all schools in the region for that matter, return to full in-person learning, the district has decided to remove cohorting, density reduction, and physical distancing mitigation measures. What is different now from the fall is we know more about the disease. The rates of infection from late fall and winter have decreased, and we have received some updated health guidance. Finally, and critically important factor is the availability and administration of vaccines for the adults who work in our buildings.
Parents have been asking for a new survey to include full in-person instruction since November. How come it took so long to get a new survey out to gauge interest in full in-person instruction?
Hi, Melody. I'll take that one. I'll piggyback a little bit off Dr. Stoll, and thank you for the question. So we all really do need to remember that from Thanksgiving through mid-February or so, we were experiencing a 9% infection rate. For much of that time, vaccines were not available, and when they became available, distribution was very limited. In addition, there was no updated guidance from the CDC or the New York Department of Health at that time.
When will the Mahopac Central School District adopt the recent guidelines from the CDC that permit 3 feet of distance in schools?
I'll take that one too, Melody. Thank you. According to New York State and the New York State Education Department, the district must follow guidance issued by New York State. So we're just as impatient as everyone to have the guidance updated, but that just has not happened yet.
Is there any plan for using outdoor space for gym or other activities?
Melody, I'll take that. And thank you for the question. If today is any indication, I heard it was nice outside. We at the district are definitely looking forward to the possibility of warmer weather with the onset of spring. Outdoor spaces will be used for instruction and recreational activities at times that it is practical and safe to do so.
What is the plan for grading tests for middle and high school students who are in school versus students taking tests at home with no supervision?
Excellent question. I'll take that one as well. So this question, because assessment practices really start at the classroom level, that's a question that can be best addressed by individual students, teachers. Assessment can of both for and of learning can occur in a number of ways, and not just in the form of tests. Could be projects, could be performance assessments. Our teachers have been doing a fantastic job conducting appropriate assessments with in-person and remote students since the fall.
Does the district plan to buy barriers for middle and high schoolers? The mask and face shields are not ideal long-term situations.
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer that question, Melody. The district has determined in consultation with the Putnam County Department of Health and the school district's physicians that the use of face shields is a more effective mitigation measure, as I alluded to earlier. Again, this is subject to change as CDC guidance has indicated that 3 feet and no barriers is appropriate. But until New York State Department of Health changes our guidance, we still have to adhere to the New York State Department of Health and Putnam County Department of Health guidelines.
Mahopac Central School District is slated to receive COVID relief funds. When does the district expect to receive the money, and will the district disclose how the money is allotted?
Thank you, Melody, and thank you for that question. While the executive budget proposal and a recent release from Senator Schumer's office detailed potential allocations of federal stimulus monies, district-level allocations will not be known until the state budget is finalized. In addition, we are also awaiting guidelines for funding availability and usage, which will need to be a multi-year plan as funds are to be allocated through September 2024.
If schools are still placing barriers on desks, couldn't teachers get more creative with how we arrange the desk and place them in small groups with more space to move around, where students work in groups and teachers are able to conduct stations in the classroom and highly effective teaching?
I'll take this question, and actually this is my favorite question, not that I play favorites, but the district has been at the forefront of next generation learning practices with such initiatives that I've been happy to be a part of, such as Breakthrough Classrooms. COVID-19 mitigation measures has forced us to arrange our classrooms and design instruction in ways that are less than ideal. We know that. Our teachers, however, have been remarkably creative, and I know that we are looking forward to the future when we can get back to do what they do best, which is creating next generation learning opportunities. But we can only do so when it is safe and when the mitigation measures allow us to.
How is the lunch period going to be handled at all schools? If the barriers will not be put up in the classroom, can they be used in the cafeteria to allow kids to eat outside of the class and actually have a normal lunchtime?
Thank you for that question, Melody. Since each of our buildings have a different physical footprint and normal operating protocols, they will have different approaches to ensuring safe operations in instances such as lunch. We ask that questions such as this are asked of the building principals to start. Principals continue to look at and look at how to operate as safely as possible.
When are we allowing our kids to sit with a friend on a bus again?
Thank you, Melody. I'll take that one. Also, students are assigned a seat to limit contact tracing. We would rather be able to know where students are in case of a positive case, and we would rather not have to quarantine an entire bus. So with that and the protocols in place, we do just not have an answer at this time when that will be lifted.
What happened to kids being able to bring in a prepackaged snack to celebrate a birthday? They already eat together in class. Why are they not allowed to bring in treats that their teachers can hand out? Why are we treating our schools like our kids have the plague and we should fear a simple prepackaged snack? Kids are buying lunch in school. How is this different?
Melody, I'm happy to take this one. So This pandemic and all the restrictions that have come with it have been very hard on everyone. We've all had to adjust how we live, how we celebrate, and we really truly understand that some of the traditions that normally could be honored have been halted or even adjusted due to the pandemic. But we must also really understand that the safety of our students and our staff are of our utmost priority, and we will continue to follow safety guidance in all aspects of school operation.
After spring break, the kindergarten through first grade Blue kids will go to the school the full week, while Gold will get 2 days in. At some point by school, would it be possible to tabulate how many days Blue was actually in person versus Gold? If there could be transparency for parents to know how many days each individual school itself was open for instruction for the Blue and Gold, would make us feel better that no child overall was shorted in-person days by more than 1 or 2 days.
Thank you, Melody. I'll go ahead and address that question. We have been tracking that information and sharing it with our building principals. It is different at each building because each building has been subject to different events related to COVID quarantine or staffing shortages. So it is different by each building. And we know that there is a discrepancy between some of the cohorts in those buildings in certain cases. When we move to having students choose either in-person or fully remote learning, we will no longer have the cohort model. We've been monitoring those numbers of days, and as I've said, been keeping our building principals appraised of that information. We do not feel that when we welcome our learners back, it would be practical to try to make up any time for one cohort over another as we move to our model and eliminate those cohort days.
When in-person returns and a student has to quarantine, will the teacher be available to remote learning?
Thank you, Melody. I'll go ahead and continue with that question, answer to that question. It is in our current plan that if a student is subject to mandatory quarantine, they, in a remote fashion, will have the ability to connect to their classroom. We will also continue to monitor that and continue to look at our learning plan as we welcome more students back to revise if necessary and possible.
If the plexiglass trifold desk barriers do not arrive opening at the elementary level, what are the contingency plans? I do believe that the elementary students are fine with masks and face shields, as the clips holding the barriers desk is tempting for little ones to play around with, and their fingers can get hurt.
Thank you for that question, Melody. Our plan is for barriers to be placed on student desks at the elementary school level. These barriers are slated to be received on April 1st. If there is a delay, we will communicate to the Board of Education and to the community. Once those barriers are in place, we intend to supervise the behavior of our students.
I'd like to know what percentage of middle schoolers and high schoolers are attending fully in person per the survey sent. If the numbers are low, do you intend to send out another survey asking the parents basis for their decision to go fully remote? If a good percentage is fully remote because of the shields, the face shields, then do you intend to make adjustments to your plan so that more Mahopac students will get an in-person education? Also, how will the attendance at these two schools be monitored by the school administration? For example, many hybrid students since September do not show up to school or decided to go remote. If this happens again, will you survey the parents and try to understand why attendance is low and possibly make adjustments to the plan?
Thank you, Melody. I'll address that question, and thank you for the question. Currently, the data shows that 16% of our responding families and students at the middle school have chosen a full remote option. At the high school, 34% of our students have chosen the fully remote option. And we've heard from families that there are many reasons for choosing that remote option, including concern about mandatory quarantines from athletes who don't want to miss their seasons, concern from individuals who want to attend the possibility if there's an event, a social event. There's existing health considerations that people choose to stay full remote. And also we've heard that there's a preference in that learning modality that some students appreciate the opportunity to learn virtually. So adjustments to the plan that are made will be made based upon health and safety reasons. We've implemented, as we said before, the face shield, and when face shield use when 6 feet of social distancing cannot be achieved, as the best mitigation measure supported by 2 district physicians in consultation with the Department of Health. And again, if New York State changes the guidelines and adopts CDC guidelines, we will no longer require those face shields if we aren't mandated to, or the barriers as well. We will take attendance in accordance with existing board policies and in alignment with our building-based code of conduct. If students are not present for their selected modality in accordance with those attendance practices, the buildings will work with the families to rectify that and make sure our students are coming to class in the modality that they've asked for.
I have read that the guidelines from the CDC are now 3 feet social distance with a mask. This seems to indicate that face shields or barriers will no longer be required. Can this be addressed tonight? If you are still choosing to do more than the CDC guidelines, please let us know why and what the cost is to purchase these extra non-required items.
Okay, I'll take that one. First off, I've had the advantage of, coming in the last 2 weeks and really taking a look at all of the things that these gentlemen and ladies have put in place, as well as our school board and our district. And the one thing that I do know, there has been a little confusion as far as jurisdictions. Right now, we're not under the jurisdiction of the CDC. And it does create a little confusion when I see the front page of the Journal News saying that, they think 3 feet is okay. Well, we're under the guide of the New York State Department of Health, the Putnam County of Health, and that's not their recommendation at this time. Doesn't mean that it won't be. Things could change tomorrow. They could change in another week. Believe me, if we didn't need to use face shields or any of these other safety measures, we wouldn't use them. But right now, we're doing the best that we can for our students. And I'm gonna close because that was the last question. I hope that you can hear all of the things that our assistant superintendents have said tonight. We look at this thing every day. They've done it with their heart. They've done it with their mind. Everything has been done in the most intelligent way. I have looked this thing inside and outside, how we can change things, how we can bring our students in a little quicker. But I got to tell you, after talking to our district administrators, after talking to our school administrators, the plan that we have in place seems like the plan that we think will work, is the best plan that our teachers are comfortable with. We think our students will, listen, we can't wait for our students to come back. Everyone is excited. I can't imagine the first couple of days. We've been going through this for a whole year, and I can't say this enough. We need this to work. These next, starting on the 5th, will we have some setbacks? It's possible. Will we have some, a rise in COVID? It's possible. But trust me, our staff will make all the adjustments, as well as with the board and our principals. We'll make all the adjustments that we need to do to make sure that our schools and students are as safe as possible. And as I mentioned, everything is being done in the most professional way and with our students' health and safety at heart. I can't explain it enough. I know some of these answers are not what some of our community members wanted to hear. I can't help that. We're trying to do the best that we can, and I think that we are. And hopefully everyone understands that we're doing the best that we can. And I appreciate all your support and your guidance. And I can't wait for April 5th. And like to wish everyone a great holiday season. But thank you to our assistant superintendents there. Believe me, they're awesome. To the district clerk, who's my assistant. She's awesome. And I'm in a very nice position, and I can't wait for April 5th. So thank you and good night.